Good.
We're good?
Call the meeting of the Sanborn Regional School Facilities Committee to order. Rise from pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all.
All right, approval of the minutes. Any, we get a motion on the minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes?
Second?
All in favor? Unanimous? New items, I have nothing.
Nothing.
Old items?
No, I'm sorry?
Old items?
Old items. We have the draft CIP report. I made some revisions to it. So specifically, I'm gonna bring it up on the screen. What was asked at the last meeting was to put in a link to the report and the date of the report. So say, for example, Bakey Elementary School, we had $1.8 million. And what I did was I put down the date of September 2020. And if you click on the link of the report, it brings up the ventilation report from E&E Systems and EEI. EEI is a division of E&E to do energy audits. So on the near the last page, it says $1.8 million for a ventilation system. Okay.
Give it 1 second here. There we go. Okay, it's in. Yep, nice. Okay.
All right. Then I think the only other thing I was able to link up, I couldn't find the $10,000 one for the athletic field access. This is to pave from the parking lot down to the garage that's in the middle of the athletic field, because right now it's just gravel. We had a proposal from years ago, and I can't seem to get my fingers on that one for 10,000. And then down further, we have snow removal equipment for 55,000. And what I've done is I've linked it to an analysis that we're still trying to finish up for the Ventrac.
And that was, yeah, the analysis is what equipment we would get rid of and potentially sell, right?
Yes,
What needs.
exactly.
It would be helpful when you're doing end of life comments. So you're saying it's end of life when we pay substantial amount of maintenance prior to the start of each winter. What is that number? So end of life means different things to different people.
Mm-hmm.
End of life means physically not able to do anything anymore. End of life here seems to mean that there's substantial up cost to keep it running. It'd be good to be able to have that because you're going to do a return on investment on it. What are the costs that you're avoiding on your annual ongoing basis by getting rid of that piece of equipment?
Well, this is just a plan. If you want to, I can reduce the language and say requires significant maintenance. Or if you want more detail, I can put more detail in.
Well, you brought up this particular thing with the Ventrac, I don't know, 3-4 meetings in a row. So clearly it's something you're working on. So if it's something you're going to want to be going ahead with, it'd be good to start the return on investment numbers now to be able to say, this is what it costs us to keep this thing up and running now.
Okay.
And if we make this investment, we will avoid that in the future. Plus we get these other ancillary benefits by having this particular piece of equipment that does A, B, C, and D.
Yeah.
The best, I mean, maybe the best place to put that would be in your analysis that you're doing, you know, to Jamie's point, because you have all the costs, right, of what this
Yes.
equipment is going to run. And
Right.
so maybe it's, you bake that in there.
Yes. So right now we're just really halfway through the analysis.
Yeah.
Okay. And as part of the analysis, I have it up on the screen here. As part of the analysis, we're looking at pieces of equipment that we want to replace it with. Okay. And we're trying to figure out whether it's worthwhile to buy, like say, for example, this Skag mower. It only has 407 hours on it. So we better have a really good reason why we want to dispose of this mower for the cost that's there. Okay. So I don't want to say that the analysis is complete but we're working on it to do your return on investment and just have a complete analysis before we ask the school board.
I think Jeremiah pointed out last time too, that you need to make sure that you don't lose the ability of doing things simultaneously when you're consolidating equipment. Like if you need to be clearing 2 paths of snow at the same time, you consolidate to only 1 unit, then you can't do that even if it is newer. So that's got to be part of that analysis too.
And is this unit for the school district or is this unit for the high school, middle school grounds?
It's mainly going to be used around this building for snow removal,
Okay.
but it's going to be used for the district
Okay,
during the summer months
okay.
For
Yeah.
mowing.
for mowing.
And that's, so snow removal, I can see like, okay, you're working in one area, you might have to clear paths and over here at the same time. But in the summertime, definitely, if you're trying to mow 2 fields at once, right now you have that ability with 2 older mowers. We're going to consolidate this nice new one and you lose that ability to mow 2 fields, right? I just want to make sure that we've thought through that. And we don't spend $100 and something thousand, right? After recapitalizing old stuff and then we're out
Yes,
the ability, right?
yes. I think right now we have more mowers than we have people.
Got it. Understood. Yep. And my other question is, when are we thinking, perfect world, when are you thinking that we purchase this?
What, the mower?
This Ventrac,
I'm hoping this fall.
this coming fall?
Yeah, so
Okay.
when we come back in August.
Yep.
I want to bring forward a proposal for the school district to consider, or the
Okay.
school board to consider.
So you'll first bring that here, the final proposal.
Yes.
That we'll take a look at,
Yes.
thrush out here. Okay.
Yes, and then there's going to be a portion that's going to go to the finance committee because it's going to be leasing.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And then it has to go before the full school board
And
for
then-
approval.
Got it. Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt.
And again, everything on the CIP list here,
Mhm.
this isn't really a plan to spend money. This is a plan of what we think we need for capital needs.
And I think to Jamie's point, everything that you have on this list that says replaces, I think we wouldn't need to know what the expected life, like Smithco Superstar Infield Groomer Bunker Machine, 4,900 hours. I don't know if that's a lot or not. You know what I mean? Why would we replace it? I don't know. Like I'm not familiar with that. Yeah, so like that's $5,000. So
Yeah. Okay.
it's $5,000 we might not have to spend if that machine's still operable and we're not spending money to repair it. And if we get one machine and we get rid of 4 machines, not just forget cutting the grass and this thing goes down, what are we doing?
We'd have to borrow a machine from another school district.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
which probably is highly unlikely. So that means we'll probably rent a machine somewhere.
I think we have a pretty good relationship in borrowing equipment. And just for this Smithco infield groomer, it only has one purpose. Yeah, it's got a lot of hours on it, but it's only to do the high school ball fields. So it's a large ride-on piece of equipment that's consuming space that doesn't get used as often as you would think.
Where is it? What space?
It's, I believe it's being stored over at Chase Field. Okay, but back to the CIP plan. And I believe in the language at the top, we put in a requirement that every okay, any dollar figure presented here is an estimate. The estimates will be refined if the project transitions to a planning phase. And I believe that there is a return on investment in here as well.
I normally adopted that as part of the goals and
Yeah.
objectives. So before we moved on, these would be an ROI on this project.
Yes, so I'm gonna make sure that gets added in right here.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that this committee can adopt the CIP plan or recommend changes, and then I'll bring it back for the next facilities meeting. But the goal is we need to have this plan completed before we build the budget.
Well, let's back up then, because I don't see anything in the plan that's converting to a budgetary, like, I don't see anything that
No,
needs to go in the budget this year.
there's nothing, I don't see anything in here that's gonna be converted to a budget item, except for maybe the Ventrac, okay? However, as part of a school board policy, we have to, prepare a capital improvement plan as part of the budget process.
But to me, so I mentioned last time, so you can't sort this, it's in the document, it's not in Excel. But the A's, immediate evaluation, I would think that the administration would be coming and saying, here's all the A items, here's where we think we are at it, here's the proposed timing, here's what we're gonna put together in terms of estimates on this, for you guys to consider. Because right now, I mean, all these A's were raised last year too.
Mhm.
And if there's work been done on them, and some of them, I'm not aware of what it is, there might be, there might not be, I don't know. But in order to start making it come from this plan into a fruition plan, there's gotta be some prioritization. The prioritization was the A, B, C, Ds, and Es. There should be some work now being done on the As with some proposed timing.
I can give you an example that we're working on right now. So at the memorial school, we're looking, we have a small group. We're trying to evaluate, the scope of the roof replacement, okay? And we're also trying to evaluate whether the timing is right for the size of it. We only have one quote, and the quote is for $300,000 to completely replace that remaining portion of the roof, okay? We're trying to figure out, again, whether we're gonna do it over a couple of years or whether we're gonna do it all in one shot, if we're gonna be doing it as part of some other improvement to the building, okay? So I don't have a full-scale plan of that. It's just that I just wanna make you aware that that one also is coming up. At this point, for that leak, we're just gonna try to patch it to make it last for another year.
So I'd like to come back to your comment about the CIP.
Mhm.
So according to the board policy, which directs this, which is DBC, all it says is that the budget proposal must be within the parameters of board policy and include provisions for capital improvement plan for future growth and a bunch of other stuff. So we don't have to approve the plan, meaning this is set in stone. We need to have a plan that is part of our documentation and say, hey, at the snapshot in time, we have a plan, right? But it's gonna be a living document, right? As
Yeah,
things change
exactly.
and evolve.
Yes,
That's what we discussed.
Yeah.
Well, and I think we adopted this last year, right, officially.
Yeah.
So I think that's always been like the living document.
Right, yeah,
Like nothing on this
Right.
is, there's no money being spent.
right.
It's a
Yeah.
working document that we're gonna
Yep.
continue to just review.
and if money needs to be spent, it's gonna go before the school board. The
Yep.
school board's gonna deliberate on it.
Cost benefit analysis, RFP, 3 quotes.
Yes,
But the analysis should still be, are last year's Bs still deemed to be Bs? Have any of them become
A's.
Where do we stand on the list of A's as to what you believe from a facilities perspective is the highest priorities that we really need to start teeing up?
Mhm.
And then you bring that and this board, this committee would say, okay, we agree that you should tee those up in that manner. Let's in the next 3 committees review 1, 2, or 3 and bring us some details on that type thing. That's how it would go from a parking lot area listing into
Actionable.
an actual decision-making. Are we or are we not going to choose to do whatever it is that those items are?
I'm hoping you guys can make a motion to approve it. or
I
table it
thought
to
you
next
were,
meeting.
I thought you were adding some language to it.
Okay,
Didn't that what you said?
I
You were
added-
adding,
I added language to the top. of-
additionally, return on investment shall be
Yeah.
calculated for any proposed expenditures. Something like that.
What's that?
Looks good.
I'm okay with it. I mean, it's a living document.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Yep, I answer.
okay. Get a motion,
Motion approved?
Second.
all in favor?
Good, thank you. All right.
This next one should be quick.
2 minutes, week.
I think it's gonna have to be, but go ahead.
Okay,
I'm curious how you see this too, Matt.
this one.
Yeah, because we talked last time, so I'm curious how you see it.
Okay, so basically, we have 3 modular classrooms attached to the, to Memorial School. Okay, and, the superintendent asked for me to create a timeline if we're going to move ahead and, convert the modular classrooms, which are temporary classroom space, to permanent classroom space, brick and mortar, what would that timeline be? And so what I did is I built a timeline starting from now until July of 2025 of all the things that would need to happen if we're going to do construction in July of 25. So, go ahead.
When, you said 3 modules, when were they put in the operation, like when were they put in place?
I believe it was about 20 or so years ago.
I need to know that.
Yeah.
Because there's a lifespan on those.
Mhm.
So I think before we even discuss, permanent structures, brick and mortar, what's wrong with the current buildings?
Yeah.
What can be done to enhance them
Mhm.
at a lower cost alternative? And then we can start talking about end of life, which could be 30 to 40 years,
Okay.
depending upon how well they've been kept up.
Mhm.
So,
All right.
do they need the carpet removed from? 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Carpet's the
Oh,
worst
yeah,
thing you can put in
absolutely.
one of those, yeah.
So
So,
we're going to try to do that.
but that
this summer.
doesn't mean you build a new building when you can just put some laminate flooring in.
So as part of this conversation, and those are great questions, that would be an item here on the calendar to consider all of those pieces. Okay, so again, this is just a calendar of action items that would need to be completed in order to get to a construction phase. And everything that you're saying is absolutely important that needs to be considered.
In my mind, I won't be doing any of this until that preliminary work is
Yeah,
done.
like that,
So
that's,
this says you will create a building committee by August of 2023, which would be the next meeting. We don't have any information necessary to even consider doing that.
Okay.
And we're still waiting to understand some other decisions that are going to impact the district and the
Okay.
timing of those.
Yeah.
I think this is premature.
Yeah, I think we said that last time. I do think we need to look at it, right? Because if it is 20 years, then they're getting near end of life. So we should be looking at what's the best way to extend that life as long as possible. What's the best way to stop the, what's called like the ink pad effect from all that dirt being tracked into a carpet that doesn't hold anything through the rest of the building that's deteriorating it, right? So there's a number of things that can be done to those modulars to enhance not only the appearance, the comfort, but, just to extend the life. So this is an expense that we don't have to do right away. Right? I don't even know how old they are.
Yeah.
So I can't even begin to fathom brick and mortar until I understand how old they are. You know what I mean?
No. And this is great. This is great, Matt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Superintendent asked you to come up with this. This is great. It gives us a timeline, right? And then when we are, as we all agree with, this is very premature. But when this is ready, we just take this timeline and we move it to the right. Right?
Right,
So
just
we
change the starting date.
exactly,
Yeah.
right? And then
Yeah.
we're just moving everything.
Yeah.
I think we just unanimously agree that this is premature at this point.
Yeah.
Okay.
And instead of brick and mortar, why would we not just replace the modulars with another modular?
Okay. We can consider that.
There should be alternatives.
Yeah, you get brick and mortar. It's a very different cost structure than a prefab building. That's really essentially already in place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That you could get another 20 to 30 years out of.
And A, and a B
Yeah.
color for this.
No, and again, to Jeremiah's point, the timeline looks good. I've read through it. I just don't think we're not at the beginning of your timeline yet.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, it may be that maybe they're 40 years old. I doubt it, but maybe they are. Maybe the floors are rotten, and maybe the plumbing's all bad. Maybe it's stuff that we can't fix, but I don't know that. I think we should tour them. You know, like I toured the one and we realized that there was handrail issues and we fixed
Mhm.
those, and we got the feedback from the participants and the teachers that were in the building and what could we do better here, and we fixed those and we enhanced the building, and we fixed the skirting, right? So those, I think we need to sort of tour them and get a better idea of what we can do at a lower cost rather than start talking about replacing.
Absolutely. Okay. Did it?
Yeah, that's all I have.
Okay.
That was longer than I expected.
All right. Auditorium update. Let's see, I have an email discussion from Gordon, okay, that talks about the timeline of the electronic equipment, okay? And on the second page of that, it shows that the microphones are gonna be I think he's hoping in the fall. The amplifier is gonna be September, the speakers are gonna be July, and the low voltage controller is gonna be July. And then the other pieces down at the bottom are available and will get installed, okay? So a lot of the work is gonna be done over the summer, but we're gonna still have some open items. And I believe that there's also a narrative too that Gordon has tried to update.
So has AVI Pro come back and offered any alternative solutions to the back ordered equipment?
Yeah, I think for an additional, I think $10,000 or $15,000, they can move us up.
I don't know what that means.
They can move us up in the timeline.
Why is there a failure
Yeah,
generated charge to us?
The problem is the equipment that we've ordered is not available. We're still waiting for microprocessors.
so how can they move us up?
They would have to take the item from another.
Didn't they have some timeline that they had committed to and they gave us the quote?
Yeah, but we're also stuck with the fact that we can't get that equipment.
But that doesn't make it a charge to us.
Yeah.
That means they've got a failure to deliver and they're in breach of the contract.
Okay, well, if we back up and say that we're not gonna buy this from them, then we're gonna be delaying the project and incurring additional costs by going with another.
No, I'm saying negotiate with them saying,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
give it to us now. You're in breach of our contract.
Yeah.
You're in breach of the other guy's contract. You're in breach of ours.
And I believe Gordon has reached out to them to see if we can get them to move up, and they're not willing to budge on that.
Do we have the contract? Can I see the contract?
Sure, I'll get you whatever we have.
The other thing that I'm still lost on, I believe this is
And
coming.
what's the delay? Sorry, Jamie.
Yeah, no, you're
What is the
fine.
delay? It's not supply chain.
It's not what?
It can't be supply chain.
It is supply chain.
They likely have somebody who's paying more money for it. and
That's,
what they're
yeah,
paying it.
yeah, like if they're telling us 20 grand because air freight versus a cargo ship, like, yeah, I understand that. But it can't be 20 grand because we're gonna pull it because it's dedicated to another job. To Jamie's
Well,
point.
we don't have, okay, the equipment hasn't come in pretty much for all the jobs, okay? They would just be having to grab it off of what they have that's gonna be allocated to a job that they got, okay? Basically, the equipment hasn't been built yet. It hasn't come from China yet.
Then that should have been factored. into
Yeah,
the delivery
I think
time.
we should see the contract
Yeah.
because, that doesn't sound right.
Okay,
Sorry.
sure. And I'll have Gordon come.
So AVI Pro is making no money for the last 2 years? Because it
Yeah.
feels like this was approved almost a year and a half.
I will also make sure Gordon is here next time.
And this is all prior to me, so this is, the auditorium in
upgrade.
here, we're just getting new AV equipment in the whole auditorium.
So there's a $250,000, that's what I was gonna bring up. There's a $250,000 that was approved by the board to upgrade the numerous items in the auditorium.
Okay.
So we've asked, I think, on 3 different occasions now, we should have an accounting for that. And the place for accounting is not Word documents and emails. It's an Excel that says, here's what we told you we were gonna spend. It was this, and this. Here's the total, 250,000.
Yep.
To date, we have spent this. We have these on order and these open POs, it equals this amount. And then you've told us also, oh, we spent a bunch of money on that wasn't part of the original scope, so it's gonna be over that number. And so we said, okay, that should be in this. What is the total dollar value of the monies being spent to upgrade the auditorium? I don't know what that number is today. Are we over budget? Are we under budget? I have no idea.
I just want to kind of jump in where it was my understanding you wanted an Excel spreadsheet of all the detailed items. I didn't know you wanted an accounting of like open purchase orders. I can get you that. That's,
Well,
I'll
I think
get my accounting system open right now.
The,
And I
what
can
it
tell you, like,
should, what it should be in my mind, again,
250 or whatever it
I use
was.
it. We had, when the presentation was made to the board, there was, just to make up the numbers, I don't know what they are, there were items 1, 2, 3, and 4. One was 100, one was 75, one was 50, one was 25. Total was 225 or $250,000, whatever the number was. What is it that we have already spent and or POs for? You do the POs, you just say, okay, the PO amount was 100. Final billing on that was 105. We have a $5,000 overage. You know, the next one, the PO was for 75. Came in at 70, we have a 5,000 underage. The next one, no PO has been issued yet, it's open. And then in addition to that, we spent these other funds because we found other things that we wanted to do in the auditorium. What are those numbers?
okay, so
To me, that's what the accounting would look like in my mind.
okay, so for ABI Pro, we have an open encumbrance for $82,656. Nothing to date has been paid. Okay.
But I can't remember all these, we just give them.
Yeah.
So like a
we
spreadsheet
need
that has all that. And then we can study the spreadsheet
Sure.
and from the studying of the spreadsheet, generate questions or concerns or what have you. At the same time, as Rick has mentioned, get us what it was that they committed to and the quotes that they gave us. And if they're not living to them, then we should be talking about that directly to them.
Sure.
Saying, hey.
Yeah.
You're causing us problems. You're not delivering what you promised. That's a problem.
Well, I think one of the biggest pitches was we could rent the auditorium out.
Right.
Essentially, they're costing us money.
And Matt, I know I'm coming in like way late on this, right? So I'm learning as we're going here. I know it's coming off like it's firm, right? But the reality is like if we have a contract with them that says, hey, we're going to deliver X product by such and such a date, and they're in breach of their own contract, then I don't care whatever else they have going on. That's our contract with them. And you're either in compliance or you're not.
Right.
And to bring us in compliance, you're going to charge us extra to our district and tax, not going to happen, right? It'd be different if they said, hey, in the next 8 months, and we're still in that 8 months, well, you know what, then we got to make a decision, right?
Okay, well, I will go and bring it up to the team that you guys want us to address like a breach of contract with the vendors.
If that's where we're
I
at.
think we need to see the contract.
Right.
first.
I think it's gonna not go well, but we will definitely bring it up.
It can't, look, it can't go what are they gonna do? Say, we're not gonna take your 80,000? I mean, it can't go bad.
Well,
We gotta ask.
it could be that we have to start the process over again.
Maybe we
We have
do.
a bill breach and they owe us not only the monies that we have committed to them, but they owe us,
Time and inconvenience.
right? They owe us for
You
the
have to see the contract.
cost that we have had, right? We need to find out what was in the PO and what they agreed to.
I don't think it's unreasonable for us to know what the contract says.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I will give you everything. Okay. All right.
I'm trying to find it on the drive as we're talking, but I want to say it was like, last June,
Yeah, it was last June.
when we started talking.
We talked about it earlier than that, but the final vote was last June.
May 31st, theater lights. Who do we go with? AVI Pro?
Yeah.
So audio visual includes audio, mix console, projector screen, wireless mics. Does not include projector. 68,506. These might not, 87,246 for the audio. 87,000 total, 77,014 for audio, 10,232 for video, that's what we approved. I don't have the contract or anything though, that was just like from Gordon's update.
But that'd be the basis of putting together your
Yeah.
accounting.
Yeah, we're a year later, and I don't think we've received anything.
Well, we've received a lot of lighting.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So you're gonna get us that accounting,
Oh, yeah, I can use the account.
okay,
That's
and a
easy.
copy of the contract.
I just thought you wanted the items detailed out in an Excel spreadsheet of each item that we were gonna purchase and when it was gonna be installed. That was my understanding.
No, I
So
think,
getting the accounting the way that he described it is easy.
Yeah.
I can get that.
and a copy of the agreement that
Getting,
we signed,
that's easy. I can get that.
thank you.
Okay. So do we want to move on?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
LED light,
Yeah, at some point I do want to circle back to the business administrator comments, but let's talk about that.
oh, did I skip, I
That's
apologize.
fine, but let's
No.
talk about the
Yeah.
LED.
So LED lights,
Tonight?
yep, Miss Jody Valente will be in at 6 o'clock to present. She is not making a sales pitch. She's not trying to sell us anything. She's not an expert on fixtures. She is the top Sylvania business and technical person on tubular lighting, fluorescent and LED.
Hmm.
Everything that comes into the country from Sylvania branded goes through her. So she's going to give us some, she got like a 75-page slide deck. I said, you want to leave us with a 75-page slide deck? That's fine. We're not going to listen to 75. So she's probably got 10 slides and she's going to talk to us about what are the issues and concerns when you're trying to save money with electricity in relanding.
Has she reviewed the report that we got?
She is not.
Okay.
So she's gonna, so she'll have like maybe 10 slides or something, talk about it and then 10 questions. But it's not a sales pitch. But she'll talk about what you could, one of the issues that you run into with ballast and compatibility, et cetera. She'll be going through that.
And is this part of the discussion that was approved a year ago for upgrades in the auditorium? Is that
No.
part of?
No.
No, this is totally.
This is-
different.
This was
Okay.
a investigation as to what makes the most sense in terms of, is there savings to be had with lighting? Our lighting is primarily fluorescent
In the whole school.
in the whole school, in all the buildings.
District. Got it. Okay.
And what would be
And
what would be the best return of investment to save cost in electricity?
Got it.
Should we replace with LED tubes? Should we look for lower wattage fluorescent tubes? What support is out there in the marketplace of other, using other people's money, rebates, et cetera? And Matt put out an RFP that also included, what would you have for fixtures and controls? And we had, I think, Unitil come in and did an audit. I wasn't on the facilities committee when that audit was presented. I think I've seen it though, but I don't recall the
Of
details.
all buildings, and I think they additionally went back and did the middle school, the old middle school, correct?
I believe so.
And then the question was, well, Jamie, you know people in the industry, you've been in the industry, could you, like, I volunteered, I can get somebody in here that does this for a living. They sell the tubes, the product manager of the tubes. So she's coming in tonight to discuss that.
Cool. Thank you, Jim.
Okay. So facility tour. Do we want to look at Memorial? Because I think you guys have a lot of questions about it.
I think we want to look at the portables first.
Yeah,
Seems
portables
like
at
that-
Memorial.
yeah.
Okay. Do we want to do it in August when we come back, or do we want to do it sooner?
I think August is fine,
Okay.
unless you guys disagree.
Yeah.
You wanna do it?
August seems okay by me.
And I gotta ask this question to be clear, because I was just there for a tour.
Yes.
We're not talking, the roof is caving in and the floor is falling out and there are rodents living inside. We're talking about upkeep issues, discussing what needs to be fixed. That's where this conversation, because I was just there,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, the initial building tours was exactly that. But
Okay.
I think Rick has raised some interesting points that it would be good for us to, if we want to consider replacing the portables with brick and mortar,
Sure.
let's go through them in great depth.
Okay.
Let's go through repair versus replace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For extended life.
Yeah.
And then we can discuss
Sure.
brick and mortar versus replace with another portable, whether it be
Yeah.
brand new or, refurbished, or there's many options. that
Yeah.
We have to explore before we just say brick and mortar,
Okay,
because that's very expensive.
it is.
Yeah.
All right.
And to Jamie's point, we have other things to consider that we'll know more towards the end of next year before we make any of those decisions.
Right.
All right.
Right.
I'm trying to circle back to my business
Business administrator
administrator comments, but
So maybe the next meeting in August, Matt, is we do it at Bakey,
okay,
right? We do a quick, business
Sure.
administrator's comments, and we take the tour, and we get a punch list and take a deep dive.
Bacon Memorial.
I'm sorry, Memorial.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
hey, it's good Bakey too.
All right.
Feeling adventurous.
The most important things that are here are three different issues. The first one is the septic system repair. This is where we had the sinkhole out in the front of the building.
Mhm.
What happened was when they went in there and they started digging out, they realized that the whole end of the septic system had shifted over. And what we had to do is we had to try to realign the septic system so that it doesn't come, well, first, put it back into place. Second, to make sure it doesn't go underneath the sidewalk. When it was originally built, it was built with a sidewalk on top of it, which is actually not technically correct. You could actually see the asphalt on the septic system pipework underneath. Okay, so it was an additional $11,520 to repair, which I have a budget transfer request to the facility finance committee meeting coming up in the next meeting.
That money is already spent. Is that
Yes,
correct?
Yes,
Yeah, that's the work that was just done.
yes.
Can I ask a question real quick? It says here, we conducted a bid and selected the low-cost vendor to perform the work. When
Yes.
was that done?
That was done in, like shortly after we identified that there was a hole there. Well, shortly after we dug it up and realized that the system had shifted. Then we went out and got, 3 quotes from different bidders and we selected the low-cost bidder.
Okay.
The second item is the fire system repairs. So, when I first arrived here, I walked through the building and I realized that some of the sprinkler heads had rust where you can see that they were leaking, okay? And for the past 4 years, I've been trying to get that particular company to replace some of the sprinkler heads. Now, what's happened is we've changed the company because they're really weren't doing the job that they were supposed to be doing. And they've identified some other sprinkler heads without me prompting them that need to be repaired, okay? They've even picked up the one that I identified. So again, what it is there's a bunch of, there's 3 different quotes. The first one is replacing several sprinkler heads off the auditorium in the changing room. Then I believe it's 5 sprinkler heads over the top of the auditorium. And then it's, I think a couple of sprinkler heads at Swayze Gym. So this is like catching up on maintenance of the system that the prior vendor should have done over the life of the system. Now, I do want people's input where some of this stuff we can delay, but now that we know about it, we got to put it in some sort of maintenance plan to get it repaired.
I mean, my thought is a lot of these are 10 days left of the fiscal year.
Mhm.
Less than 10 days left of the fiscal year. Something that we didn't consider a priority for 4 or 5 years. Let's spend it now. I would suggest that we spend it next year. We have an account next year called replacement equipment, which is designated for furniture for $50,000. We don't need $50,000 of furniture. Do the transfer request from that line to this line, can do it next year, next year's money, not end of year spending. That'd be my recommendation.
So when does the year overlap officially? Like,
6/30 is the last day of this fiscal year.
There's 10 days left.
yeah, so essentially we could get the work done before school starts.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that. As long as it's a safety issue in my mind,
Right,
right?
correct.
So as long as the work is done before school starts, I'm fine with that. Like, that's good. That's good, rather than spending money at the end of the year.
Okay. Yeah, but we're gonna talk about that in the finance committee. And my personal opinion on that, I don't really care which fiscal year it's in. And I don't
Just has
care,
to get done.
right, I don't care if we do it over a 2-year period, okay?
Well, I think for the heads, I think if we've been delaying it this long, that's too long. We've got it identified. We can identify some monies for it. Let's go ahead and then address it.
Hmm.
I just wouldn't do it with year-end funds. The optics aren't very good, and there's no specific benefit to doing it with year-end funds versus 2 weeks from now funds.
All right, then I may try to spread it throughout the fiscal year as I identify other.
Yeah.
Okay,
How many sprinkler heads are we talking about here, Matt? Sorry.
uh,
Because when you just described it, it sounded like less than a dozen.
yes, yeah. The real cost is, to do the ones in the auditorium.
Mhm.
We have to pull up almost all the seats in the auditorium and bring in a man lift that may not fit through the door to get up to, we have to get a piece of machinery to the roof. I gotta talk to them about trying to unscrew the pipe and bring it down to the floor and work on it down on the floor. Because to me, that makes sense. But they're talking about trying to rig a piece of machinery to the roof so that they can do the threads on the pipe.
That seems odd.
Yeah.
It does seem odd. But, most of the people that I'm talking to, they're puzzled on how to get to those sprinkler heads without building scaffolding. So it's kind of like,
How high is that auditorium? 40,
Probably.
40-ish feet?
yeah,
You got double swing doors. I mean,
Right. And
those
there's
lifts
scissor
fit
lift.
right through there without a problem.
There are
No, no.
small scissor lifts.
they're not
Yeah.
scissor lifts. They're talking about one of those ones with the
Like a
wheels on
genie,
the
like a
side.
genie boom. Yeah.
Okay.
They're talking about a boom that can go up and swing and move, scissor lift. The problem with a scissor lift is that I think the floor is angled, right?
Yes.
You're not gonna be able to probably get everywhere. And you only go one direction with that. You can't-
Right.
Yeah, so they're talking about, you ever seen one, they're typically blue, like you call it genie boom.
Yeah.
4 wheels.
Yeah.
Up, extends, moves, the basket.
Yes.
They can sort of.
But you're not
that is
talking,
the right equipment.
you're not talking every head in the auditorium.
No,
Yeah, so I mean, it might be one head in the auditorium.
no,
You
they
know.
said 5.
Oh, there are 5 in the auditorium? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
And the
How
problem
did
is,
they inspect them?
I know. From 40 feet, they're like,
Yeah,
yeah,
like
that
how
one
did they
right there.
inspect them?
Good
I'd ask
point.
that question.
It seems a,
yeah,
I'd say however
I got some
you
questions.
inspect them, I do the same method.
yeah.
I was watching America's Got Talent. These people stand on everybody's shoulders and like, can we do
We can
that?
get that.
Yeah, no.
this technique.
Sorry.
And because of the intensive job this is,
Sure.
I'm okay with spreading this thing over a couple of years. Because this is like, to me,
The sprinkler heads,
yeah,
if they need to, well, first of all, maybe we get a second opinion real quick. I don't know how quickly you can get, you get somebody else to
Okay.
take a look at it and give us another quote
Yeah.
quickly, right? Because
okay, the problem with doing another quote, they would want to take over the system because it's a fire system. So you have to have a person of record for that fire system.
Yeah.
So that's why it's just one quote for this one company that's dealing with the system right now. I can get someone to kind of, I'll do this for you. I'll get Jeff Murphy from our fire engineers to come in and give me a second opinion.
That would be
and
great.
then, and also ask him how he would suggest changing.
And so when did we get rid of the old company that used to manage the system?
I believe it was last summer.
So we've had this new company for a year.
Yes,
Is part of the, I would assume, as part of taking over a new fire system
yes.
at a public school, that they would come in and do an inspection.
And that's what they did. And they wrote up all the deficiencies and then they gave us a quote for it.
A year ago?
Well, no, I think it was a month ago.
So they own the system for 11 months.
Yeah.
With no inspection at a public school system.
I think they probably did a cursory inspection, but this one was, they have to do an annual inspection where they're actually going through with a checklist.
Oh, I understand
And they
that.
only did that recently.
Could you-
That even sounds more like, okay, we're not getting the profits we needed on this.
I
You need to
know,
go
yeah.
look for
I'm
things.
I'm sorry, I'm very skeptical. This seems very odd.
Sure.
Yeah.
I will go and kick it
Yeah,
out.
I thought,
Yes, we're taking on the liability and we'll go check it out in a year.
Yeah, but I do know that those 2 sprinkler heads that I identified before,
Sure,
those need to be replaced.
sure. Yeah, I'm not denying it.
Yeah.
I'm just, it's a,
Yeah.
I would like a second.
It's odd.
opinion.
It's protection of the building. You have to,
Yeah.
you just have to trust what you
Okay,
trust the person you're dealing with.
so the last item, this came about because I've asked, Dan Doyle to go and get a water license. And we are supposed to periodically drain the water tank at the high school and clean it, okay? The quote here is to drain it, clean it, and then to also to spray a liner on the side of it, okay? So
For what?
the water tank,
Well, I mean, what's a line for?
it's just to protect the concrete on the tank.
some questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said, we're required to. What is the requiring mechanism that says we are required to?
This would be DES as part of our municipal water license.
But periodically is not defined, so we're required to do something whenever we want to?
I believe it's every 2 years.
So we're outside of we're already outside of the legal requirements.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So is there any kind of computerized maintenance management system that's used in the district?
We had one that was removed about 5 years ago,
Why?
as a cost cutting measure. And it's before my time, so I'm only hearing about this anecdotally. I have no evidence of it.
Of it existing?
I hear that it existed. I hear stories about that it was a cost cutting measure, okay? I can't find evidence of the system. I can't find evidence that there was an order to tell them to remove it,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah, because when you buy a piece of equipment, there's manufacturer recommendations.
Yes.
Just like a car, right? Like, so you have a piece, like a boiler needs to be blown down, right? And
Mhm.
it should typically be annually or I don't know what the school district is, but our boilers have to be inspected annually. They
Yes.
have to be blown down on a regular
Yes.
basis. It's
Yes,
part of our maintenance system.
yes,
And
yes.
It just seems like these things
People
pop
won't
up.
just remember
Okay.
that stuff.
And
They
what
have
I,
to be
what
in
I
the
see
system.
is, we haven't done it. It's periodically supposed to be done, and then like we get this bill, and what would have been if we would have done it on a regular schedule, like the track. Remember the track?
yeah,
The track, we didn't do the upkeep on the track, and then it was $100,000.
yes.
So
So-
when do we get away from that?
So I'd love to get away from that. One of the systems that I've been looking at, it's really cool because it puts in a building plan of the building, and then you identify all the components of the building, including all the motors, all the electrical components, all the heating and cooling units, and you can put in the maintenance schedule that you're talking about. You can also put in notes when something gets replaced. And so it comes in as an iPad, and as the people are doing their work, they're recording all the information as they're working, okay? So this is an idea that we've been investigating. I don't think it's ready to bring to this committee.
What's the name of the program?
I'd have to go back. I can give it to you in the morning.
I can give you a list of 43 right now.
Cool.
43 programs that you can look at.
Yeah.
And so most of them are free
Okay,
or low cost.
that would be
Right.
great.
And it does exactly what, maybe it doesn't have your diagram,
Perfect.
but
If you can.
you have to identify the maintenance points within the building. You set the parameters,
Mhm.
tickets are generated, they're assigned to people. They, give you a pass-through report, maybe, and there could be a reason something's passed through,
Mhm.
parts, whatever. But then at least that could be something we manage on a monthly basis, right?
Yeah.
Something we report on.
Well, that would fly right back into your CIP plan. So we
100%.
say, you got your Ventrac here. Well, this is what it's costing us. Look what we just spent on this.
And then, you know, and you put in, it's sort of like the, you know, we talked about the IT, you know, asset purchase register or asset management register, right? So it's sort of like you buy the Ventrac and it's got a expectancy of 25 years. And when we're at like 23 years, we can say, how's it performing? How many hours are on it? Do we need to replace it? Can we get 5 more years? Can we get 10 more years? So
Yeah, I feel like we're
it's not
fighting
something we
brush
do
fires.
overnight. It's just like,
No,
the only way to avoid these expenses that pop up is to do the maintenance that's required. And I'm not saying, with all due respect, I'm not saying anything negative about the maintenance that's done and the maintenance technicians
Mhm.
of this district. I just don't have visibility to it, right? And I think it would help them too.
yes.
The
Both
management
agree.
of the maintenance
Yes.
is really what's the best way to manage it and
Yeah,
ensure
yeah.
that we're doing it.
Yeah, I feel like we're fighting brush fires right now.
We are,
Every time it's like, you know, oh, one's popping up there, one's popping up there.
Yeah,
And that's gonna happen, you know what I mean? But a
Yeah.
system like this will at least reduce that.
okay. Really, those are the big
Jimmy needs a new
items.
computer, the fan's going crazy.
It does that.
All right,
This is number.
yeah,
3 years
and there's been so much going on the last 3 or 4 days. I haven't been able to get the people to sit down and give me an update on the buildings. Okay. So,
So what it would do, I don't wanna leave that hanging. What do outs do we have for Matt on that one?
On the sprinkler?
No, the freshwater tank.
I'd have the same argument there that had the other, the two of them together, 50 grand. There's
I know.
money next year for it.
Yeah, and I still have to, I think I have to understand just a little bit.
Right.
But look, I'm not saying we don't need to do it. I'm just saying I need to understand a little bit more. Like,
mhm.
what's the frequency? And I appreciate the
Sure.
fact you're saying you think it's 2 years, but what is it? What's the who makes the tank? I can look it up online. Tell me who the tank manufacturer is. It'll
Okay.
tell me what the maintenance
It's a
is.
poured concrete tank.
And what tank is this?
It's right out here behind the building.
Okay.
So if you walk into the water treatment room.
Yep.
You're actually facing the wall.
Okay.
So it's like a 40,000 gallon tank.
Okay.
That is, underneath the, parking lot over here. You
Okay.
can see the pipes coming up for it.
Okay, so it's an underground cement tank.
Yes.
Was there a liner in it to begin with? Because you said you're supposed to put a liner.
Right.
No, I didn't say they're supposed to, they recommended a liner. They're
Recommending
supposed to clean it every 2 years. And if everyone decides that we're not gonna line it, I'm okay with that. I just wanna clean the tank. Just go in there, power wash the tank, but we can't do it, because the problem is you need a certified person.
It's
to
confined
do
space.
Confined space
Yeah.
entries.
Okay. Yeah, so a little bit more information, I think, is what we're asking that on that one, right? So what is the requirement?
Mhm.
Is there a requirement? What is the requirement for it? And then do we need to do this liner thing or
Yeah.
not?
Yeah. Okay.
Is the vendor go in the tank?
The vendor?
The person that's
Just
recommending
give them the
this?
size of the tank.
Yeah, but,
It's a personal service.
yeah, no, I get it. It's I don't belabor this, but it's sort of like getting your septic pump. Right? They inspect your tank. Oh, you might need a new bathroom in a couple of years, but it's okay now. Like, how does this person know we need a liner? You know, it's like,
It's just a recommended service.
of course. Yeah. Everybody's looking for it.
Mm-hmm.
I think we need an inspection first, right? Let's get it clean
Well-
and get an inspection.
Okay.
How can they, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, to fill a 40,000 gallon tank, that's the best time to line it. So, to drain it would be easy. We just have to go and put in a pump and pump it out. But then, it will take a while to refill it.
But that's when we would do it. We would have it cleaned, inspected,
Yes.
and then we would be standing by to make a decision on this liner.
Sure.
So they look in and they're like, oh, this thing's great. Oh, it doesn't really need a liner. Okay, go and fill it. It's a phone call,
Okay.
right?
Sure. I'll reach out to you guys.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's really all I've got. Oh, and you gotta do your minutes.
We voted on the minutes.
Oh, you did?
But
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
In the
what
very
we
beginning.
started the first time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm all set.
Thank you, Matt.
All right, thank you.
Did we, just so I'm clear, what are we, sprinkler heads? We're doing next year? Is that what we decided?
Yeah, not into your spending, we're gonna get some
And you're
type
gonna
of a
get that
second
person to come in
opinion.
and look at it?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes. Jeff Murphy.
Okay. If you need to reach out to us before, August,
I'll reach out to you.
yeah, just let us know if we need to meet, then we
Yeah.
can, but.
Yeah.
And I can stop by anytime.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, for the van, I think that, I bet you they're gonna call me tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay, so just be prepared to take a cell phone call.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. Yeah.